Hello, welcome to my second demo, my live demo of operational analytics. So we're gonna go see if this will work. I'm showing both screens. Um, my first screen, I believe on the left, shows you I have an Azure SQL database, premium level 11. So I have at least 16 gigs of RAM that we're going to be populating here. My database name is PowerC, and I've created a table that's called meter measurement. And so what the demo today is gonna run a program on my local that writes out to this meter measurement table constantly. It's gonna do it in batches. We'll see how fast it runs. We'll show that as soon as I start it up. But it was an IoT generator that I got, and it's really cool because we're going to use all the technology to have an operational analytics, a real time dashboard in Power BI. So just to quickly go over, we are creating a in-memory table. So we need to create the in-memory file groups, and that's what this part does. Sets us to compatibility level 130. It sets the database to memory optimize elevate to snapshot. It does all the things that needed to be done to do in-memory objects. Now we're going to go and just make sure that the objects don't exist. um, as you can see, this isn't your ordinary table. It's an in-memory, but it is also a temporal table. So it's going to be very interesting. Um, the original script did a history table with a temporal table, and it didn't have a Columnstore index on it. And when I got enough data in the history table, we had trouble with the querying, so I added a clustered Columnstore to the history table, which actually works. So the history table is not going to be in memory. The table that we're inserting to is in memory. It's in memory, and it also has a clustered Columnstore index on top of it. So this is very exciting. What will happen is that everything that's inserted, and then we'll insert probably about 10 million records, and then it'll just continuously update for a good hour. We're not gonna we're gonna have you on for an hour, but I'll come back after an hour and show you that it's still working as it should over time, and it's really cool how we've used all the newer technologies, column store indexing, in-memory tables, temporal tables to get a real-time dashboard on just this one table. We also create the views. So there's two different views. The first view they created, it looks at all of the data over time. So like I said before, it'll grab both from the in-memory table and the historical table. And so that's why I created a column store index on the historical table for that view. There's two different views that I created. I wanted just the view of the in-memory table to give you a understanding of how the table is as it is right now instead of having the historical. So we'll get that with both of those views being populated for the Power BI, and then in order to in memory within the stored procedure, which is natively compiled, we had to create a UDT, a table type, in order to push the batches of data in from the IoT application into a stored procedure, and that is where we press everything in, and using a stored procedure that's within is an in-memory object as well, both the UDT and the stored procedure. This will give us the ability to do everything so quickly, and do inserts and updates based off of that. So with that, I think that's kind of the crux of it. We're going to hit Query Store and see what's going on there, and see if we can see how our system is running Query Store is automatically embedded into Azure SQL. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and, as you can see on this screen, let's put this over here and let's refresh our dashboard to see if. So here's our dashboard right now, and there's nothing in it, as you can see. So there's no data. And if we go ahead and start this, let's see if this works. Always. Yeah. So these are the rows per second. So pretty much the batches that are being run. I know from my house, I get 150 megabytes, so it might not be as fast. So you can see that this is running here, and so if you go ahead and refresh this page, you can see the data in real time coming in. So the view is working its magic and being run on the Azure SQL database. Obviously, there's not a lot of data right now, but it's continuing to grow, as you can see. For this example, I did what they gave me for postal codes. They gave a bunch of postal codes that and this gives you a good overview of, if you just keep on refreshing. I know that I was having problems with the dashboard, since we're in the report right now, I think, right? So if we go live data, we can go ahead and refresh. We can do this and see it automatically refreshes on everything. So really cool feature. Since there's not much data, it's not using the Columnstore as it should be as much right now. So if we go ahead and let's do, let's look at the tables and see what we got. So let's go ahead and let's count it out. See how many So right now we're at about 3 million. So we're gonna hit the 10 million mark, and this is just showing you in this view what it is now, what this table is now, not adding the historical view. So we can definitely hit upon the historical one as well, and in order to do that, I would have to use the other view. So right now it'll give you kind of a good look. So if we go ahead and edit, go to advanced editor, and just go to that historical view. So the Power BI here is in direct query mode. So we're continually working. So this is very important to understand. This obviously sometimes it'll fail on connection, but it always comes back. It shows you that we're continually either inserting or updating 20,000 records per second. So it's working very fast. Last how many minutes? We have about 6 million records being inserted. I put the kibosh on 10 million records, so I figure, there are about 10 million meters in Seattle. But the database will continue to grow because what is happening is it's inserting and updating into that this table, but it's a temporal table, so the versioning is happening behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and save this as. Let's go ahead and publish it out. See, the thing is, when you publish from direct query, it really so we'll see if it publishes out correctly. Always have problems with different things. So in order to make sure that your data set is correctly connecting, let's just add these and then log in. So with the historical one, I wouldn't want to make it a dashboard. I would keep the dashboard to just the live data. So the table as it is. That's kind of my point. So yeah, we're pretty much going to hit the 10 million mark here soon. So in order for it to refresh, you need to use the slicer. So yeah, see, there you go. So as you can see, we had continual inserts, and now we're having updates. So this is great. This is just showing the 10 million records. It is not showing the historical changes. And if you want to see the historical changes, you go to the other dashboard or the other report. So if we unselect all these, let's go to just 9002 and find out where that is. Fairly quick. It shows you just the meter readings for that 9002. So I mean, you have the ability to see real time for just anybody you want. Say we want to just have 98003. It's really quite amazing. So let's let that continue to build, and I'll just show you in another 45 minutes or so how big the full breadth goes. I mean, so right now, if we go, actually, it's continually into. So it's really kind of slowed down in this respect because it'll get to 10 million and it'll stop. But if we look at the history table, it's continuing to grow because it's continually updating, and that's the amazing part. You're doing these views that do this aggregation, and we can go to that view. We can go to the views and see what's going on. So this is right now we're at about 4 million changes. Maybe when I get back it'll be up to 100 million. This is continuing to update rows per second. So this is very important to understand that this is happening in real time and everything's being updated and inserted. You can go to the plan caches and figure out, is it using the optimal plan? What's the difference? Look at, that's a canceled one. Nice. So so you know, it's definitely makes it easier to understand what's going on in your system, and at a quick glance you can find different levels of being able to either force a plan or correct things. See, and it does use the Columnstore index that we created on the history table. So it's really quite quite a process here. So let's let this keep going, because I think over time we want to end up seeing the it happen with about 100 million records. So let's go ahead and pause this out and see what happens. We'll go and refresh this just to show you how much data. So there. So we're at that many inserts. This is the different updates within the temporal table. It's just amazing what you can get. So yeah, we'll come back in about 30 minutes, and we can show you at that point. We'll have probably a lot more into the history table. Hopefully, at least 50 million.